Easing the credit crunch for small businesses now. The Senate may vote this week on a bill that supporters say will leverage $300 billion in new loans, 10 times the amount provided by last year's stimulus bill. The bill offers low-cost federal deposits to community banks that agree to increase their loans to small businesses by 10%. It also includes $12 billion in tax credits. Republicans aren't so sure the bill is a big bonanza. They blocked a floor vote last week. But now, Democrats hope they have enough bipartisan support to pass it. Local small business owners are following this debate closely. Political editor Mike Flannery talked to a businessman in Lake County who says 2 SBA loans saved his factory from closing. Mike?
Well, Bob, he told me that without those 2 SBA loans, he and the 20 workers he used to have might all be unemployed. Instead, his Heaven Tree Candle Company survived the worst of the recession, and he now employs 30 people in Lake Zurich.
Oh, look at that. That's just
and as this burns down, this whole thing lights up.
Oh, so it does the same.
Factory owner Dennis Clarkson today showed off artistic candles designed and produced at his factory in Lake Zurich. They're sold in boutiques and retail outlets all over the country. On hand, his congressional representative Melissa Bean on the left there, and Karen Mills. She's the woman from New England that President Obama appointed to lead the Small Business Administration. Mills counts Clarkson and his workers among the 715,000 whose jobs she claims were saved with small business loans supported by stimulus funds passed last year. You've had 2 SBA loans.
And both times we could not have expanded, or in the case of last year when we got the 7A, we would not have been able to fulfill our orders. And we would end up losing money and probably going out of business.
We give a 90% guarantee. The bank gives the loan to the small business, and that's how hundreds of thousands of people have stayed in their jobs.
SBA Administrator Karen Mills claimed that the bill pending in the U.S. Senate that might be voted on this week if Democrats can succeed in getting it called could help to generate hundreds of thousands of additional jobs. Now, she praised Dennis Clarkson and other small business owners as the secret weapon in America's economy. According to SBA.gov, there were 262,860 small business owners in Illinois, employing about 49% of Illinois' private sector workers in the last year for which numbers are available. Going into this fall's election, the Obama administration would love to brag that Democrats have delivered for small businesses and for the small community banks that also stand to benefit from this bill.
There's $30 billion of lending that would go through community banks to our small businesses, which could leverage essentially $300 billion of loans to our community businesses. So it's very important.
Well, you can also understand why some of the Republican Party's strongest allies in the business community support this measure, including the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the National Federation of Independent Business. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell, though, has demanded that amendments be added to this measure, and some of them deal with the expiring Bush tax cuts, nuclear power, and border security. If this bill's not voted on this week, Democrats plan to try again to pass the measure in September, but the closer we get to the November election, Bob, the less likely it is that there will be any Republicans who cross over to support it.
So what do you think is going to get passed?
It may be this week. It may be this week. The only thing that they actually do in the Senate will be to approve Elena Kagan for her appointment to the Supreme Court. There's a lot of other measures pending, but you know, Republicans aren't necessarily going to let Democrats get any bragging rights to something additional being passed at this point.
Thank you, Mike.